Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaya Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Tiriyam Nashtaprayesha Bhadresha Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 8, talks between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rani, text 206 onwards. Vibhur api sukh rupa suprakasho api bhava shanam api nahi radha krishnayor yarite swaham pravahati ras pushtim chid vibhutir iveshaha shrayati na padam asam Kah Sakhinam Rasagyaha. The pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna are self-effulgent. They are happiness personified, unlimited and all-powerful. Even so, the spiritual humors of such pastimes are never complete without the gopis, the Lord's personal friends. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is never complete without his spiritual potencies. Therefore, unless one takes shelter of the gopis, one cannot enter into the company of Radha and Krishna. Who can be interested in their spiritual pastimes without taking their shelter? Their means gopis, shelters. So this is a quotation from Govind Lilamrita. Sakhir स्वभाव एक अकथ्य कथन Krishna saha nij leela nahi sakhi raman. There is an inexplicable fact about the natural inclinations of the gopis. The gopis never want to enjoy themselves with Krishna personally. Never. Their only mode is to keep Radha and Krishna together. Let them enjoy. Krishna saha radhikara leela ye karaye. Nij sukha haite tate koti sukha paye. The happiness of the gopis increases 10 million times when they serve to engage Shri Radha and Krishna in their transcendental pastimes. Radhara Swarupa Krishna Prema Kalpalata Sakhi Gana Hayatara Pallava Pushpapata. By nature, Srimati Radharani is just like a creeper of love of Godhead. And the gopis are the twigs, flowers, and leaves of that creeper. Krishna Lila Amrita Yadi Lata ke Sinchaye Nija Sukha Haite Pallavadre Adyer Koti Sukha Hai. When the nectar of Krishna's pastimes is sprinkled on that creeper, the creeper is creeper of love of Godhead, Radharani. So when nectar of Krishna's pastimes is sprinkled on that creeper, the happiness derived by the twigs, flowers, and leaves is 10 million times greater than that derived by the creeper itself. So the gopis enjoy it more than Srimati Radharani herself. In his Amrit Pravah Bhashya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur states, Srimati Radharani is a creeper of love of Godhead, and the gopis are exactly like twigs, flowers, and leaves. When water is sprinkled on the creeper, the twigs, flowers, and leaves indirectly receive all the benefits of the creeper itself. But water sprinkled directly on the twigs, leaves, and flowers is not as effective as water sprinkled on the creeper's root. The gopis are not as pleased when they directly mix with Krishna as when they serve to unite Srimati Radharani with Krishna. Their transcendental pleasure lies in uniting them. And uniting them and serving them in their pastimes to make them more happy together. Sakhya Shri Radhikaya Vraj Kumud Vidhor Ladani Nam Shakte Saramsh Prema Valya Kisalya Dal Pushpadi Tulya Swatulya. Siktayam Krishna Lila Amrita Rasa Nichayer Ulasantayam Amushyam Jata Ullasaha Soseka Chat Gunam Adikam Santi Yat Tanna Chitram. All the gopis, the personal friends of Srimati Radharani, are equal to her. Krishna is pleasing to the inhabitants of Brajbhumi, just as the moon is pleasing to the lotus flower. His pleasure-giving potency is known as Ladani, of which the active principle is Srimati Radharani. She is compared to a creeper with newly grown flowers and leaves. When the creeper of Krishna's pastimes is sprinkled on Srimati Radharani, all her friends, the gopis, immediately appreciate the pleasure 100 times more than if they were sprinkled themselves. Actually, this is not at all wonderful. This is natural. There's nothing wonderful about it. So this is from Govinda Lila Amrita. यद्यापि सखीर कृष्ण संग में नाही माना तथापि राधिका यत्ने करा न संगम. Now Radharani, look at the mood of Radharani. Although the gopis, Srimati Radharani's friends, do not desire to enjoy themselves directly with Krishna, Srimati Radharani makes a great endeavor to induce Krishna to enjoy himself with the gopis. Now Radharani, because her tendency is to please Krishna in every way possible. So she wants him to enjoy with the gopis. In fact, near Barsana, there's a place called Ucha Gaon, that is a village of Lalita Sakhi. Then that Ucha Gaon, on the hill, there is a place where Radharani got Krishna and Lalita Sakhi married. Nana chale Krishna preri sangama karai. Atma Krishna sanga haite koti sukha pai. Presenting various pleas for the gopis, Srimati Radharani sometimes sends the gopis to Krishna just to enable them to associate with him directly. At such times, she enjoys a happiness 10 million times greater than that enjoyed through direct association. Anyo anya vishuddha preme kare rasa pushta. Tasabhara prema dekhi Krishna hai tushta. The transcendental mellow is nourished by what? By that mutual behavior in transcendental love of Godhead. When Lord Krishna sees how the gopis have developed pure love for him, he becomes very satisfied. Srimati Radharani and the gopis are not interested in the personal happiness derived from association with Krishna. Rather, they become happy by seeing one another associate with Krishna. In this way, their dealings are further nourished by love of Godhead. And seeing this, Krishna is very pleased. See the mood of Radharani. There is no place of envy, jealousy in the spiritual world. And Srimati Radharani is setting that example. So if we have envy and jealousy in our hearts, actually that is the reason for our material life to begin with, but we will continue with that material life. So it's not like I will please Krishna if I do most of the service. I'll please Krishna if I engage everybody in all the services. Selfless service attitude has to be there. Sahaja gopira prema nahe prakrita kam. Kama krida samya tare kahi kamana. It is to be noted that the natural characteristic of the gopis is to love the Supreme Lord. Their lusty desire is not to be compared to material lust. Nonetheless, because their desire sometimes appears to resemble appears to resemble material lust, their transcendental love for Krishna is sometimes described as lust. But actually it is no lust. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that material lust should never be attributed to Krishna, who's full of transcendental knowledge. Material lust cannot be engaged in the service of the Lord, for it is applicable to materialists, not to Krishna. Only prema or love of Godhead is applicable for the satisfaction of Krishna. Prema is full service rendered unto the Lord. The lusty affairs of the gopis actually constitute the topmost love of Godhead, because the gopis never act for their own personal satisfaction. They are simply pleased by engaging other gopis in the service of the Lord. The gopis derive more transcendental pleasure from indirectly engaging other gopis in the service of Krishna than from engaging in his service themselves. That is the difference between material lust and love of Godhead. Lust applies to the material world, and love of Godhead applies only to Krishna. And nobody else, although no other Vishnu avatar, love of Godhead applies to. It's difficult to understand this, because in material world, boy and girl, that's all we think of the relationship, and this is what in material world goes on in any way. But material is completely opposite of spiritual, and it's a perverted reflection of spiritual activities. Premeva gopa rama nam kam iti agamat pratha iti uddhavadayo apiyetam vanchanti bhagavata priya. Although the dealings of the gopis with Krishna are on the platform of pure love of Godhead, such dealings are sometimes considered to be lusty. But because they're completely spiritual, Uddhav and all the other dearmost devotees of Lord desire to participate in them, because the dealings of gopis and Krishna is completely spiritual. This is quotation from Bhakti Rasamrita, Nectar of Devotion. Nijendriya sukha hetu kamera tatparya, Krishna sukha tatparya, gopi bhava varya. Lusty desires are experienced, and when one is when one is concerned with his own personal sense gratification. The mood of the gopis is not like that. Their only desire is to satisfy the senses of Krishna. Nijendriya sukhavancha nahi gopikar, Krishna sukha ditte kare sangama viha. Among the gopis, there is not a pinch of desire for sense gratification. Their only desire is to give pleasure to Krishna, and this is why they mingle with him and enjoy with him. And it's not like Krishna is sitting there and he's trying to do this, trying to enjoy them sexually. No, Krishna is reciprocating the love. So this is love. There's not even a pinch of desire for sense gratification. That's gopis. Yatte sujata charnam bruham staneshu bhita shane priya dadi mahi karkasheshu. Tenat vimatasi tad vyathate na kim svit. Kurpa dibhir dhramati dhir bhavad ayushamna. All the gopis said, Dear Krishna, we carefully hold your delicate lotus feet upon our heart breasts. When you walk in the forest, your soft lotus feet are pricked by the small bits of stone. We fear that this is paining you. Since you are our life and soul, our minds are very much disturbed when your lotus feet are pained. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, the chapter of Gopi Gita. sei gopi bhavamrite yar लोभ है वेद धर्म लोक त्याजी से कृष्ण bhaja. One who is attracted by that ecstatic love of the gopis does not care about popular opinion or the regulative principles of Vedic life. Rather, he completely surrenders unto Krishna and renders service unto him. He does not care for popular opinion. Raganuga marge tare bhaje jai jan. Sai jan paye braje brajendra nanda. If one worships the Lord on the path of spontaneous love and goes to Vrindavan, he receives the shelter of Brajendra Nanda, the son of Nanda Maharaj. In all, there are 64 items listed for the rendering of service unto Krishna, and these are the regulative principles enjoined in the Shastras and given by the spiritual master. One has to serve Krishna according to these regulative principles, but if one develops spontaneous love for Krishna is exhibited in the activities of those who live in Brajbhumi, one attains the platform of Raganuga Bhakti. One who has developed this spontaneous love is eligible for elevation to the platform enjoyed by the inhabitants of Brajbhumi. Is eligible for elevation. One who has developed this Raganuga Bhakti. In Brajbhumi, there are no regulative principles set forth for Krishna's service. Rather, everything is carried out in spontaneous, natural love for Krishna. There is no question of following the principles of the Vedic system. Such principles are followed within this material world, and as long as one is on the material platform, he has to execute them. However, spontaneous love of Krishna is transcendental. It may seem that the regulative principles are being violated, but the devotee is on the transcendental platform. Such service is called gunatita or nirguna, means it is beyond three modes, for it is not contaminated by the three modes of material nature. So the service in spontaneous love, it's just natural love for Krishna in that mood when we serve him. Then we are eligible to live in Brajbhumi. Or if we live in Brajbhumi, then this spontaneous love naturally develops in the heart. And that is the actual position of a living entity. But technically it is called Raga Nuga Bhakti. So as I had explained earlier, some other place. So this is Raga Nuga Bhakti. Anuga means following. Following who? Those are called Ragatmika devotees. Rag Atmika means their heart is full of this rag. And those are the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Whether it is Yashoda Maya, Gopis, Radharani, they're all Ragatmika. So following in their footsteps, when we do service, when we develop that love for Krishna, that is Rag Anuga. So that is our perfection during Rag Anuga. व्रज लोकेर कौन भाव लय यही भाज भाव योग्य देह पाया कृष्ण पाय व्रज. In his liberated stage, the devotee is attracted by one of the five humors in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As he continues to serve the Lord in that transcendental mood, he attains a spiritual body to serve Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. So, in his liberated stage, the devotee is attracted by one of the five humors. So, one of the five, whether it's Dasya Shant, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. And further purpose is, as he continues to serve the Lord in that transcendental mode, then he attains a spiritual body to serve Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. So this material body remains and he gets a spiritual body. Tahate drishtanta Upanishad Shrutigana. Rag marge bhaji paila Brajendra Nanda. Those saintly persons who represent the Upanishads are vivid examples of this. By worshipping the Lord on the path of spontaneous love, they attained the lotus feet of Brajendra Nandan, the son of Nanda Maharaj. In the Golok Vrindavan planet, Krishna's servants are headed by Raktak and Patrak. So those are in Dasya. Krishna's friends are headed by Sridham, Subal, and others. There are also elder gopis, Mother Yashoda, and others, and the cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj. All of these personalities are eternally engaged in the loving service of the Lord in accordance with their specific attachments for Krishna. One who wants to return home to serve the Lord directly may be attracted to Krishna as a servant, friend, father, or mother. If a person continuously serves Krishna during this life in a particular ecstasy, upon giving up the material body, he attains a spiritual body suitable for serving Krishna in terms of his particular attachment. One may serve as a servant, friend, father, or mother. In the same way, one who wants to serve Krishna in conjugal love can attain a body under the guidance of the gopis. In this connection, the most vivid example is provided by those saintly personalities known as Shrutis, who represent the Upanishads. The Shrutis understood that without serving Krishna and following in the footsteps of the gopis, there would be no possibility of their entering the kingdom of God and serving Krishna in the mood of conjugal love. Therefore, they engaged in spontaneous loving service unto Krishna and followed in the footsteps of the gopis. So, Shrutis or Upanishads, so they are all persons, they are books, but they have a personality also. So, in that personality, they understood that it's better. They understood that they wanted to engage in the service of Krishna in the mood of gopis. So they got the form as Shruti Chari Gopis in the next, when Krishna personally came. So they all took the form of gopis. Nibhrit maruna mano akshadridad yogo yujo hridiyan munaya upasate tad araya api yayu smaranat. Striya uragendra bhoga bhuj danda vishakta dhiyo. Vayamapi te samaha samadrisho angri saroj shubha. Great sages conquer the mind and senses by practicing the mystic yoga system and controlling the breath. Thus, engaging in mystic yoga, they see the supersoul within their hearts and ultimately enter into impersonal Brahman. But even the enemies of the Supreme Personality of God have attained that position simply by thinking of the Supreme Lord. Means even in the mood of enmity, they still attain the same impersonal Brahman. However, the damsels of Braj, the gopis, being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, simply wanted to embrace him and his arms, which are like serpents. Thus, the gopis ultimately tasted the nectar of the lotus feet of the Lord. Similarly, we, Upanishads are saying, can also taste the nectar of his lotus feet by following in the footsteps of the gopis. So this is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, spoken by Shrutis, the personified Vedas. Samadrisha shabde kahe sai bhave anugati. Samahas shabde kahe shrutir gopi deha prapti. The word samdrisha, mentioned in the fourth line of the previous verse, means following in the mood of the gopis. The word sama means the Shrutis, attainment of bodies like those of the gopis. So following the mood of the gopis, and but doesn't mean we start acting like gopis. That will be sahaja. That is called sentimentalist, not like sentimentalist. So following the mood of gopis means to surrender everything for the service, for the pleasure of Krishna. Not like dressing up like gopis or women and walking and dancing and talking like women. That's imitation. That doesn't mean we got the mood of the gopis or gopi bhav. People talk about gopi bhav. And there's no artificialness in this. Nothing. It's all natural. So but for us, we are not at Ragamaga platform yet. So we have to do our bhajan properly. And slowly, we pray to the gopis, pray to Radharani, and give us this mood, give us this now, and basically give us a shelter of her lotus feet. And that'll be our perfection. I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble listen. Prabhuji, here are we who think like that if somebody is serving with us, if he is getting more mercy, then why he is getting more mercy? And here are the gopis who are engaging everyone in getting the mercy of Krishna. So,
Yep. And that's the mood of Srimati Radharani, actually.
yeah, she's so long way to go.
Yeah, lot to learn.
Lot to learn, yes, lot to learn.
Okay, chalo, we'll stop. Yeah, you all have safe and wonderful day. Hare
Hare
Krishna. Jai
Krishna,
Shri
Jai
Radha.
Srila Prabhupada.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada.